Tsunami works again.
Well, it would appear so, yeah. Look, we played pretty well tonight. That run and carry game that we try and implement looked really good at times. But equally as much, our pressure and our come forward defence was really strong. And they challenged us last time we played them, and we didn't have that same mindset for that particular game for whatever reason. So it was an important adjustment that we were able to make, and it certainly helped the result.
You ever seen your group so dominant on numbers, particularly clearances, and then to hold the ball and win it contested and uncontested?
Yeah, I can't remember one. So it's a nice time to get those numbers. Certainly our clearance game, I think maybe plus 18 first possession, plus 16 clearance, 9 goals to 3. I mean, that's not normally how we score or what we rely on to win games. But the last 2 weeks, really, we've been able to score from stoppage, which has been really nice for us. Nice timing coming into finals. We're not just solely relying on our turnover game to score. We're adding the stoppage game, which makes us even more of a threat, I think.
For all of that, did you feel a bit on edge because the doors just seemed a little bit open for Port to rush at you at time?
Definitely. We knew they were going to fight, and I reckon they maybe had moments of 4 or 5 times where they came at us and scored and then threatened to score again. And, during those moments you feel under pressure and you think, geez, if they just get one, maybe the game swings a bit. And fortunately we were able to absorb their attack and then go back at them and ultimately score at some point. So kind of stopped the momentum for us, which is really important. I mean, you've got to score to be able to stop the momentum, and we were able to do that in important moments.
On a lot of occasions, you're able to, I guess, kick goals really quickly after Port Adelaide had kicked the goal. How important was that in, I guess, stopping their momentum? Super important.
It's not something that we've been strong at over the season. I think as the season's progressed, we've been better. But that hasn't typically been in our weaponry. So it's nice to be able to respond quickly to try and, stamp out any threat of a comeback.
Were you okay with just absorbing that stuff at the start of the last quarter? Were you happy to hang there? Or?
No, we kind of went into our shells a little bit, I felt. We stopped playing with any dare and any run that we felt like we were playing with the first 3 quarters. So we'll address that in terms of was it Port Adelaide's defence that stopped us? Was it us stopping ourselves in terms of mentally getting a little bit pressured? Wanting to sort of hold on to the game a bit, I'm not sure, but we'll address that.
Could you believe this could happen when you were just 4 wins halfway through the year?
Probably not, but I knew that we had really good footy in us, and I felt like we could be a very good team. But again, you're saying, well, did I expect to make a prelim? Well, no, but not this year anyway.
Stephen Coniglio, one of the original Giants, he had a giant first half. What'd you make of a game altogether after missing last week? What'd you make of his performance tonight?
I thought he was fantastic, particularly, he's part of our midfield that I felt got on top of theirs. Certainly his composure when he got the ball was really important for us. Early on in the game, as expected, we were probably panicking a little bit. Balls hitting ground, getting tackled, wrapped up a little bit, fumbling. But he just seemed to have the composure that settled us a bit. And his ball use, I thought, was fantastic for us. Front half, I don't know what his entries were, how many he had, or what his efficiency was going inside 50, but it felt like it was really effective.
Jesse, I reckon with that, Adam, I mean, all your leaders seem to be almost at the peak of their powers, don't they? Like in the forward line functioning with Hagan and Toby up there.
It certainly feels like that. Those guys are leading the way, and they're obviously very ably followed by the younger guys in the team who are just playing to their strengths. They're prepared to run. They're really good in contest, as we were tonight. It's fair to say the confidence is high within the group, and I think it's driven by those guys you mentioned.
Obviously, Holmes has had a massive year, but he's kind of kicked on, especially after that Essendon game, and 4 goals tonight. I think 9 marks again. And I think what have you made of his sort of even better form at the back up?
I thought he was, excuse me. I thought he was the most dominant key forward on the ground tonight. His ability to either come at the ball or get over the back or to win it in the contest was really important for us. He kicked goals at important stages, and some of the goals were somewhat difficult shots. And we went on a patch there. I think we kicked 7 behinds in a row in the end of the second quarter. But he'd done his work a bit earlier than that and kicked some really important goals. I know he missed a soda from in front of goals later on, but he's just a pleasure to coach. He's obviously quite experienced in terms of years, played in the game, but he's still learning, he's still growing, he can improve, he's still getting better, and he embraces it too, which is great.
Adam, what happened to Briggs and what conditions are he in now?
Well, I think he's fine. I know he was having his shoulder checked out. I don't know what the incident was. He had his shoulder checked out maybe end of the third, thereabouts, and came back on. Played pretty much the whole last quarter. I think it's fine. I'm not aware of any damage to it.
And more from the mindset point of view, I mean, such joy in the rooms and jubilation, I guess, but then how do you balance that up with the task next Friday night against the Pies?
Yeah, well, we'll enjoy it tonight for sure. Obviously 6-day break, so, we'll recover really well, prepare really well as we do. But I think we've got to enjoy your wins. There's no point just moving on because we've got a 6-day break. We've got to enjoy our victories, and then start of next week we'll switch on to Collingwood. Start preparing.
How do you approach, I guess, so many a packed MCG? It's going to be majority Collingwood. When in finals in the past hasn't been, they haven't gone too well at the G when it's been against the big Victorian side.
Well, I can only speak on the last 2 weeks. 45,000 today, probably 40,000 of them Port Adelaide supporters, loud crowd, obviously very passionate. We were able to do a pretty good job, and then the week before against the Saints, I think we maybe just short of 70. Similar moments. So I feel like we've had some pretty good leading games to the Collingwood game. Clearly they've got a great supporter base as well. 90 plus at the G. Wouldn't ask for anything more.
You won't change it, but you sort of shake your head that one team can get an 8-day break and one gets a 6 for a prelim final?
I kind of look at it as a Collingwood event, right? So I'm not all that fussed over it, to be fair. They finished on top, so they deserve an advantage. Even if it is that. It feels a bit strange going into the grand final. One team potentially having an extra day. That would be where the query lies. The winner of us will have an extra day on leading into a grand final. That's a bit. I'm not sure about that, but smarter people than me make those decisions.
Jack Buckley didn't play a single game last year. He's played every game this year and was enormous again tonight. What have you made of his incredible year?
He's been fantastic. As I said in the pre-game, he's he was an emergency round 1. Leckerlear pulled out late, day before the game, got hurt at training. And Bucks hasn't looked back since. I think it was 620 days between games for him. And the way that he competes behind the ball is just so thorough with his body work. He's so hard to beat. Great in contest. Yeah, I love watching him play. He's been terrific for us.
Don't know how many weeks it was. You sat there and you said you were still working on a plan B. Just how much have you grown in that time? And have you got the plan B yet?
What was that? When was it?
Or was it the time you were here for the Adelaide game? Was it midway through the year? You're saying you're still working on trying to develop a plan B. That's how much growth that you still saw in both your playbook and the team. So how far have you gone?
Well, we've got to be able to adjust to what the opposition throw at us, and if they're able to shut down the A plan, the way that we want to play, then we've got to be able to have something to lean on. So I feel like we've seen that in terms of the stoppage game. I feel like plan B is, well, you might be able to defend our turnover, but now we can lean on our stoppage a little bit, which is nice and adds another layer to our game. And so it's important. Now, clearly, it'll be a different challenge against Collingwood next week. They've been quite a good stoppage team also across the course of the year. So, I feel like our game's in good order. We're healthy. I think we'll have a full list to pick from again. We couldn't be a better place to take on Collingwood next Friday.
Who's Cooper Hamilton going to hit up this week?
I stay well out of that.
I know you've got involved.
I don't do the humour. our media department do a wonderful job. They're very witty, and I'm sure they'll have something cooking.
So don't they just lean on everyone in Australia?